Welcome to the fourth lecture in this lecture series on Introduction to Metaphysics. In this fourth lecture, titled What are Categories? Part 2 Aristotelian Categories, we will be looking at one of the earliest systematic works on categories, which was by Aristotle. Aristotle's works forms part of the bedrock of Western philosophy's discussion on metaphysics and on categories. It is the earliest detailed work that attempts to categorize and present the observed reality. As the title suggests, this is the second part on categories. We are going to have many lectures on this topic. In the last lecture, we provided a general overview of categories. We saw that both Indian philosophy and Western philosophy in the ancient times were concerned with how to describe reality in a systematic fashion. We had also seen the evolution of the metaphysics of categories. As we saw in the last three lectures, metaphysics is the inquiry into what is reality and what constitutes reality. But what does reality consist of? Categories has been given as the answer. These constitute the most general kinds of things. Categories of things or system of categories enables us to know most general constitution of reality, which is the goal of metaphysics. Categories can be regarded as the highest kinds or genera. It is the inventory of what there is, which is the central task of metaphysics. In the last lecture, we also saw the question, can one describe the world without categories? We concluded that it was not possible. We stated that classification and organization are inseparable part of our mental process. We gave the example of the task of describing a rose. We say rose is a flower, or rose is red in color, or rose is beautiful. All these flower, red, beautiful are species of categories. Flower is a substance or dravyam. Color is a quality or guna, and beautiful is also a quality or guna. We see that categories form the most basic components of our language, that it would probably be impossible to have a language or to communicate without categorization. We also saw in the last lecture that Aristotle's treatise, Categories, attempted to enumerate the most general kinds of things. Aristotle categorized reality into 10 highest categories of things which are said without any combination. These are substance, example man, horse, quantity, example 4 food, 5 food, quality, example white, grammatical, relation, example double, half, place, example in the lyceum, in the marketplace, date, example yesterday, last year, posture, example is lying, is sitting, state, example has shoes on, has armor on, action, example cutting, burning, passion, example being cut, being burnt. Aristotle's work, Topics, also dealt in detail with categories and provided a prelude to the discussion on the subject. Topics was written around 360 BCE according to Huby PM. In Topics, Aristotle discussed about 10 categories. The task of categorizing reality in Indian philosophy received a detailed and systematic treatment in Nyaya Sutra of Gautama. We are not clear about the dates, but it ranges from around 600 BCE to 600 CE. We see a lot of similarities which we will discuss during the course of our discussion on categories. Now, coming back to Aristotle in Topics, Aristotle comes up with four senses of being: accidental being, being in the sense of truth and falsity, categorical being, and potential and actual being. Aristotle, philosophical knowledge is possible from categorical being by means of categories. Making categorical propositions is possible and to undertake demonstrative syllogism. Epistemic or scientific knowledge is possible through demonstrations. Science can be built only through categories of being. According to Aristotle, other senses of being can be explained through categorical being. Aristotle focused on categorical being. To him, metaphysics was the science of being that explored categories. There are six works of Aristotle on logic, and Topics is one. In Topics, Aristotle gave an account of how to use categories. Topics sheds light on categories and throws the light on the connection between science and categories. According to Aristotle, science is the end of the process that begins with categories. Propositions are composed of categories. Demonstrations are composed of propositions. Science follows from demonstrations. A demonstration is the deduction or syllogism proceeding from true and primary principles regarding scientific knowledge. So, categories are the building blocks of propositions. Propositions lead to demonstrations, which lead to science. Deduction proves either that predicate is not the same with its subject as a definition or property, or genus or accident. Deduction does so by demonstrating that conclusion does not follow the premises. Alternatively, it shows that the predicate is the same with the subject as a definition or property or genus or accident. This is done by demonstrating that conclusion follows from the premises. In case of latter, the true prediction has occurred. Categories are each an uncombined word or expression that is one of the following: what substance, how large quantity, what sort quality, related to what relation, where place, when time, being in a position, posture or position, having state or condition, acting action, or being affected or affectation. There are 10 categories listed by Aristotle, once in topics and once in categories. As said earlier, for deductions, categories are the primary blocks. In deductions, we proceed from known to unknown. Aristotle says, now a deduction is an argument in which certain things being laid down, some other than these necessarily comes out through them. Syllogism establishes the type of predication that holds for a particular problem. Predication, by the way, is the act of making an assertion or a statement about a subject, often expressing a property, characteristic, or condition of that subject. Syllogism helps us establish the strength of the principal relational property that holds between a subject and a predicate. Predication can occur within four philosophical problems. We will discuss what these philosophical problems in the next lecture. Take care and have an awesome day.